Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to re-interview Manley. So, Manley, welcome, man.
Hey, hey, how's it going, man?
Good dude. So, uh, can you tell us your full type, including your social type? Because that's like the new thing on the block.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm a double feminine, SETI, consume, play, sleep, blast, and my social type is a one.
Gotcha. All right, man. I did you cut your hair or are you just
No,
wearing
man, the hair's all there, bro. It's all
okay,
good.
okay. Because like last time I interviewed you, you had like the hippie look going.
Oh yeah, my hair is probably all down. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
Um, all right, cool, man. So I interviewed you like a long time ago. Since then, what has your journey been like working on your fourth animal, which is Blast Last, NF Blast Last, and also working on that Demon NI at the bottom? So let's start with that.
Yeah, man. So I think the first time that you interviewed me it had to be like right after I was officially typed. Like you are snappy, man. Like people get typed and you're like, you're getting on my video right now. So it was when I was probably still in a little bit of shock from getting my type. I was like, okay, what the heck? Since then, I would say I've developed a lot. I've learned a lot about what it means to be blast last and NI last and OI last. And I think I've locked down a lot of the struggles that naturally come with my type and kind of figured out a way around them. And I think it's helped a lot. So um, I've seen a lot of improvement. I've seen a lot of taking ownership over controlling the tribe and taking general control over organizing the people around me and also my life, staying on a more focused path instead of getting all over the place. It's been really good. And it's helped me a lot in a lot of ways. My biggest struggle was always taking control over uh, the situations I'm in, taking control over the tribe, and uh, ultimately setting up boundaries, I would say, around what standards I'm okay with in certain settings. Most of my life is involved in business, so because I own a business, so that's typically where I'm practicing most of the things that I'm learning about myself. Honestly, obviously, family life comes into play as well, and friendships. That makes a difference, but most of this, uh, where I've noticed where having blast last hurts the worst is in business because if you're not willing to take control, you kind of just it gets weird really fast. Things don't go well. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
So part of your Blast Last is also NF. So like getting that feeling that NF vibe, right? Like, are you more aware of like the vibe of the tribe, the emotion, and all that stuff, and able to communicate that to others?
Yeah, I would say yes to a certain extent. I can it sounds weird, but once I've like figured out what the ST of the NF was, I started realizing what it actually represented to the tribe and what they were looking for if they wanted NF. So I would say I can do it now more effectively if uh like if you were like Manley, can you be super NF in this interview? I think I could pretty effectively do it.
Really?
And yeah, I think I could. Yeah. Or it might not work perfectly because honestly, I think a lot of type comes down to like your neurology too, and the way that you uh, psychologically express yourself and the way that your tones affect the people around you. I think it comes down to your type, like in a hardwired fashion as well. Like so, technically, me if I do it the best I can, it's not necessarily going to get the same effect as if someone that's just naturally NF been doing it since they were born.
Right.
But I think I understand it to a like a ST dynamic perspective where I can like, oh, I think I can ST DNF now in a way that I can get a lot of the impact that people would expect. Um, yeah, I think so.
All right, dude. We'll come back to this again later on. I want to jump into the social type because that's like like I said, that's like the new kid on the block. Everyone loves the
Heck
new thing,
yeah.
especially the EPs and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So long time ago during our first interview, you said something to me that I never forgot, and you said that you're very picky with your friends, and you only have one friend. I never forgot. You said you only had one
Yeah.
friend. Um, and I was like, this guy's cold. That's what I like when I first heard that.
Yeah.
But then I didn't know about the social type yet at that time. And I also interviewed your type twins. There's like a whole bunch of you guys that are like the same.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're different from those other dudes, you know? Like
Yeah.
I think one of them is a four, you know. The other guy I don't know what type he is. He's probably also a four. Um, so like, and then there's you. You're like the ruthless one, right? So,
Yeah.
um, how do you see yourself now that you know that you're a social type one? You know, like how does that change things? Does that change the way you see friendship? You know, or not?
Um, it was one of those things where I kind of already knew I I understood certain attributes of myself and how I handled certain relationships. And it was kind of like it was almost like I got called out. It was like I was like justified in a way. It's like, oh, it's my hard wiring. That's why I'm ruthless about relationships. Like you have utility or you don't. So
Right.
like get out of here.
Yeah.
Um, I obviously don't typically speak to people like that because it's not
No, of
beneficial to
course not.
maintain a
Of course not.
relationship. But uh,
I'd love to
but
hear that though. That would be funny.
yeah. But it was kind of like it justified me in a way because I was like, oh, that's why I work that way. But also like, oh, I need to stop doing that because if I want to build real connection and relationships with people, I can't be that way. Like I have to learn to truly value people regardless of what utility they have in the world. Which philosophically speaking, it's ironic because I do believe that. Like philosophically, I believe everyone has value, whether I can perceive it or not. But
Okay.
uh, from a like a practical perspective of how I actually live, sometimes that's hard for me. Like I don't I don't feel myself valuing people too much as being a part of my life or putting much time into the relationship if I don't see the long term value of where it's going to come into play in my big picture plan, if that makes sense. Which sounds ruthless, and I didn't even know that was not something that other people did until
Yeah.
uh, everyone everyone's just friends with everyone. I'm like, yo, why are you friends with these people? Type energy, but
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was a douche until a lot of this stuff. I was like, oh crap, I'm like a big douchebag. Like you guys are all super sweet and nice to each other.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that video when they said like if you need help, go find a four, you know? Because
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Um and then like I don't know if you saw the video with Shan when she said like I didn't want to be a one because I didn't want to be an I didn't want to be an asshole, you know? Like
yeah. That cracked me up. Yeah.
yeah. Did that resonate with you when she said that? Like or like you kind of knew
Oh,
you were already doing that and you're like
yeah. The benefit of being so she's like a play first EJ, right? So the
right,
benefit
yeah,
of
so
being
it's
my
yeah,
type is that
exactly.
like
Exactly.
I'm douchey enough that it's kind of like, yeah, I don't
You're
it
aware.
doesn't bother me. Yeah, it's once if you're aware enough of it, it's already like, oh, I'm not too surprised.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
I'm sure for her, she's like, I want to be friends with everyone I can, but then like, sorry, you
But she
can't.
actually wants to crush them.
Yeah. People, I mean, for me, like, I don't know if she does this, but she probably doesn't, knowing her type. But for me, like, the new people I meet for the last like 3 years, long before I learned about social type, I tell them, hey, just want to give you a heads up, I'm not the best friend. So if you're looking for a really good friend or someone that's going to respond to your text messages and call you all the time, like, I'm going to be bad at that. I actually tell them ahead of time
Yeah.
because before, like throughout my whole life, I always had this thing where people are like, they they were drawn to me, which was nice, but they wanted to be my best friend and they wanted to interact and like, hey, I got to tell you all my problems. I got to call you all the time. I want to talk on the phone for 7 hours for no random reason,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. And I learned that like I wasn't going to give people that. And once people eventually realize like, oh, Manley is so fun to be around and I enjoy his company a lot in person, but he's not going to give me the time of day if I'm not in his presence. Eventually they're like, I think they realize like, oh, we're not as close of friends as I thought. I think
Yeah.
that hits them sometime, which is sad. But for me, I kind of like I started getting to the point where I was like, I'm going to prep you for that ahead of time because like it's not my intention to make your life hard, but
Yeah.
no, I'm not gonna. I'm not. I'm not gonna respond to every text or call. I'm not going to, and it's not always even intentional. I'm thinking doing other stuff, and I just
Right.
don't get around to it.
You're not like a purposeful asshole. You're like that.
Yeah,
Like
I'm not trying to be a douche at
yeah.
all. I'm not, but like
Yeah.
it's more like I'm busy focusing on something, and
Yeah.
then now I have 150 unread text messages. Sorry, like it is what it is. And if I go back and look at them, I'm like, wow, this dude was trying to be my friend like a year and a half ago, and I didn't respond. Like I could actually, it would be funny. I could probably show you some text messages and block out the name, and it would be like, oh gosh, I ghosted like all these people. by accident.
I can't imagine. But I can actually. I have friends that are ones that stopped talking to me, and we were good friends in like college, you know. So I believe you.
Man, I don't want to be that person. Gosh dang. Yeah, sorry. I'm like looking. I'm like trying to find these.
Like when you see that though, does it bother you or does it horrify you or not? Not really. You're like kind of like you know, like
Like seeing that I didn't respond to text messages.
yeah, or like what people are saying to you, you know, like
No,
it doesn't bother you. Like
not really. No, I think it actually did when I was younger. This was actually confusing for me learning that I was a one because my mom was such an EJ, like be polite, be loving, be welcome, be gentle to everyone. Like,
right,
um, that growing up, I never would have expected I was a one because I was like the snuggly, laughy friend with everyone. Okay. I'm sure you could still like Dave and Shan still could be like, oh yeah, you got some ego in there. You're trying to be the best for everyone. But it was more like I was sweet and nice to everyone. And I tried a lot harder to like respond to everyone, give everyone every moment of attention I could.
right,
And then as I've matured, I think it's kind of sad, but I think like I'm entering a life away from my mother who was constantly she was like a source of EJ. I don't know if she's a four, but I was getting that source of like being a friendly person. Once that was out of my life for a while, like I think I reverted more to like probably what I was genetically predisposed to being. So
right,
now it's more like I am the one that's focusing on business and it's what I care about. And until I get the money that I need, no, I don't want to be friends with any of you. Like I have to get the money, have to get the business working, and then I'll have real relationships. That's kind of how it's worked. And I don't even feel bad about it. I'm not trying to be that way necessarily, but like, I don't know. I can't have the friendships I want until I have the money that I want. I can't. So it's kind of like I still spend time with people though. If you like ask Alex and my other friends, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Manley's our friend. We like have a good time." But like in my mind, I'm constantly fighting back this constant thought of like, why am I having fun at all if I don't have like all the money and success that I need to achieve my
right.
purpose? You
Is that
know,
your
that's
one
kind of
friend?
I have a lot more than one friends now because we
Oh,
this
nice.
is so this is why this is actually the challenge that I've been doing. It's ironic because like I was before I like realized I needed to be more friendly, which was actually I started realizing it before the social type thing came out. I was like, okay, I'm not spending time with anyone. I'm not focusing on anyone. Once people started asking me to like join podcasts and do stuff like that, instead of saying like, no, I don't have time for that, I said yes because I was like, okay, I need to like build friendships, build relationships, spend time with people.
Right.
I started a life group at church, so I'm like have to be friends with all like everyone there, and I have to be the
Yeah.
best friend because I'm the leader. So it put me in a situation where like, okay, I got to do this thing that I'm not naturally good at, and I'm doing okay at it. I still keep like my brain slips into utility mode every once in a while, and I
Yeah.
like, and then I start like, there's this thing called DTRing in like the Christian circles, um, and it means determine the relationship. And when I feel like people aren't being purposeful enough, I DTR them.
Yeah. That's
I did
funny.
that. I did that to my life group. I like a few life groups ago. I felt like I was dragging people. I didn't
Yeah.
even realize I was doing this. Dang, and I did it. But I felt like I was dragging people too much to like care because it feels like when you're a one. I'm not gonna say this because it sounds too douchey. Well, actually, I'm about to say it literally. Whatever I am, it feels like I care more than a lot of people about like being purpose driven, making sure things are happening, making sure we're focused, making sure we're achieving the goals that we need to achieve,
Right.
either individually or as a group or all together.
Right.
And I felt like I was dragging people, and like I don't like that. I don't want to feel like I'm dragging you to care. So I
Like
straight up
like
told them,
like you mean like people are not pulling their weight, you mean? Is that what you're trying to say? Or
it would be wrong to say they're not pulling their weight because the the in a sense, like I would say some people would say yes, they're not pulling their weight. I don't know if I would perceive it that way because they're not technically required to do anything in the life group except be there and be an individual that like adds that I want everyone to be able to get everything out of life group, but obviously in community there's always a give and take, right? Like,
right.
hey, if we're here to achieve a purpose, which is to build And this, as a Christian, like in community, in the Christian community, the goal is to like, okay, we're building relationship, we're building vulnerability, we're actualizing ourselves to be more like Jesus, and we are trying to manifest the kingdom of heaven on earth, which is Christian-y language for we're trying to make the world a better place actively.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess in that sense, I'm coming full circle, and now I'm saying yes, they're not pulling their weight. It feels like they don't care that much. And
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, yeah, why are we here? Why are we doing this? Why did I create a life group for us to all focus on this? If you guys are all like, hey, is there free food here? Like, I want some pizza. You know, like
I like how you're
I'll give
making
you.
fun of the force.
Oh gosh, I hope no one sees this. This is gonna be live, isn't it? No, it's not. We're not. Are you famous enough for people to see? I don't know if you are. Someday they
Just
will.
people of objective personality.
Okay, good. As long as it's just them.
Yeah, I have slightly less than 3K subs, almost 3K. So
You're gonna be famous soon, big boy. Everyone's gonna be watching.
eventually,
And then I'm gonna get shamed for saying all of this.
eventually, yes. At some point, I can see that happening. Um, so there's a lot of bunch of stuff to unpack here. So I don't even know which one to start because there's a lot of like interesting stuff that you said. Okay, I don't know which. Yeah, like you said, there's some good stuff here.
Do I sound like one-ish to you? Or do
Yeah,
you have thoughts like these?
I already know you're one.
Okay.
I'm not. You're not the person I would be like. Oh yeah, you're full of shit. You're not a one. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just wish you were, but you're not. No, but
Yeah.
like no. I knew that right away. Like after our first interview, I didn't know the word for it yet. You know, obviously.
Yeah. Douche.
But, well, not
No, I'm just kidding.
a
This guy's
douchey
a
one. A
douchebag.
douchey one.
This guy's a
Douchey one.
douchebag. Self-important douchebag.
Yes. Yeah. You're
You
still
can already
double-sided
tell.
though, so you can't be the ultimate. You know.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
douchiers than me for sure.
Yeah. You have to be like a decider. No offense to those guys.
Yeah. Man, what would they be like? Them, but like one of them. Yeah.
They're not
Anyways.
all bad. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger's pretty cool, you know, and he does have friends, but they're just like other big shots, right? Like like he's friends with the guy who made Avatar, you know, like he
Oh yeah.
like James Cameron, but I guess he
Yeah.
doesn't have friends with like people who are not like high achievers like him, you know, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So do you see yourself doing that though? Like as a one, like yeah, you know, because you look at people from a utility standpoint, right? And because for me, I'm a two, so like I do want to achieve and stuff, but I also invest in relationships because I know at some point I'm gonna retire, or maybe not retire, but like I'll back up from working, and then I want to have fun and have friends. But if I don't invest in relationship, I'll have nothing in the end, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the way I see things, right? So I don't know if you think that way, like because like
Yeah.
at some point you're gonna have the money. At some point you're gonna have the money, right? But then
Yeah.
if you it's kind of like, you know, putting money in a bank account, like
Yeah.
you know the money grows over time, or your investment if you have like real estate or whatever, right? But if
Yeah.
you don't put anything in, then you're not gonna get anything out in the end, right? So the relationship is kind of like a bank account. You got to put something in if you want to get something out. So
Yes.
so I'm like wondering, don't you have like, because you know I know you look at friends as like utility, but I'm wondering, don't you have like a having fun utility? Like this group of people, they're like maximum utility for fun or enjoyment or happiness. Can you not like designate them for like that specific purpose?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. This is multifaceted. So, um, I I don't know if this is a one thing or not. I would imagine it is, but um, there's if I think about like okay, the categories that matter, the categories of like psychological or sociological success, fun and recreation would definitely be one of the key factors. Like without recreation, I'm sure the world falls apart. You know, that's been the same since the beginning of time. And at one point, it looked like gladiators murdering each other, and everyone was like, "Yeah, murder each other." You know, like
Right.
okay, that's freaking
Yeah.
weird. Now we have sports at least, so that's good. But
Yeah.
recreation, obviously, it matters. The way that my brain works is I don't get as much. I can tell that I don't get as much dopamine from fun as most people, at least in the stage of life that I'm in, because it feels like all of my dopamine is attached to achieving a specific vision that I have and a specific um, state that I need to be in order to really enjoy myself. That's how it feels. So it almost feels like I have like a block from like being able to really enter into um, momentary bliss that a lot of other people seem like they get. And I didn't even realize this until like like the year or two ago, I was like, why does everyone seem like they are much happier with the situation they're in right now?
Right.
And I'm kind of like, I'm not going to be happy until, like, I can fake happy, but like I'm not really happy like these people until I achieve this thing. So it
Right.
kind of feels like a curse in a way. It
Yeah.
sucks. Because like, why can't my dopamine receptors work like yours for like eating a chip? You
Yeah.
know, I'm like, no, I need $1 billion to get the same thing you get out of like hugging your best friend or something, which is really lame to be honest. So I've been trying to figure out the work of figuring that out. But um, to answer your question, what you just said about like creating a recreation or fun utility, that's what I did, and that's why I've been doing what I've been doing. And my wife helped me with that. She helped me to realize like fun's important, friends are important, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, yeah, no, you're right. We need to do this. So,
But you don't get the dopamine hit when you do it. So how like what's the utility of it then? You know, because it doesn't work for you, right?
so it's I would say it's multifaceted. Well, for one, it's a long-term play. Like if I build long-term relationships, it is an investment. So even though I'm not getting as much out of it, I'm sure as a lot of other people are, at least I'm building a relationship that will ideally last long term. Um, Part of my brain sees that as a lie because I don't I don't know. I feel like people can get hurt really easily and just ditch. That's been a lot of my experience with humans. But if you build real relationships, ideally that's not going to happen, right? But I do believe in the ideological state of a community where everyone loves one another, everyone's working together, everyone has their purpose, and everyone has a fun kumbaya every night around the campfire and
Yeah.
talks about a fun day. Like I idealize that. It feels hard to experience right now because like for some reason, even though a lot of people are fours, like I can't even get them on board with that. Like if I tell them like, hey, why don't we actually do this? Like I do some one stuff and I'm like, yo, why don't we put our money together and like buy property and actually do something? Let's like if we're gonna have society, why don't we have a real cool
Yeah.
like freaking community together and hang
Yeah.
out every day? And they're like, oh Manley, that's not realistic. Like we have jobs, we're tired. And then I'm like, okay, well, so we're just gonna stay in flaky friend world where like you guys want me to come watch a movie with you every once in a while, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so in my idealized version of what friendship looks like and community looks like, I get dopamine from that. And I've experienced like little hits of that throughout my life periodically. I'm like, dang, this is really nice. Like, how can we get this to happen all the time? But that's not how life is. You know, it's not like if, like, I'm sure you've had really fun times with friends where it's like, man, this is awesome. I wish I could do this all the time with these people. And then, like, maybe or maybe not, you tried to make it happen, and everyone was like, no, I got a job. Like, I got kids, I got stress, I got finance, all this stuff. So, in my ideal world, I'm trying to eliminate all of those things that keep people from being willing to have real, what I perceive as real community, which I think other people would agree that it is. They just don't think it's realistic because it's more utopian by nature, I would say.
Right. Yeah. Um, well, I'm a two, so I'm not like a four. So I don't want to hang out with friends all the time because I'm a two. I'm obsessed with work,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
kind of like you are. I just don't have the ego. I don't like my one's a demon, right? So working is still super important to me. So I would piece out for my friends so I can work. So
Hmm.
I can see that, but I do want to go back to them again. So it's like a balance, right?
So
So
that's the other thing. Like my ideological state would involve all of my friends that I care about working together. So like it would be a multi synchronous vision where it's like, okay, a two would even love this version because it would be all the people they love, like maybe being their colleagues slash employees and all of them working together, but they would have life together and have fun. But
isn't this
something like
what
that.
like what Dave and Shan were making fun of you guys for though? Like the ones they're friends are they're like employees and stuff, but they're not really their friends, because you're not on equal grounds. You know what I mean?
I'm not like a douche one where I have to be in charge.
I
Like
see. Okay.
yeah,
You're not the
like I,
super douche. You're just a
yeah,
douche.
like I respect twos. I don't know if I put a four in charge, but
Yeah.
I'm
No.
just kidding. I honestly, if someone like the way that I perceive leadership and uh, organizational structure is that if someone is better than me at something and that position has that focus, like I'm going to put them in that spot. technically I'm the president and CEO of my company, but if
Right.
someone proved to be a better CEO than me, I'm promoting them to that position, because my goal is structural efficiency, organizational
Right.
efficiency. If I'm worse than you at something, obviously I would like to be the best, but if I'm worse, I'm putting you in that spot, and it is what it is. I'll be your employee and just focus on what I'm good at, or I'll become chairman or something like that of this community. But you are right that is probably, but I guess I do perceive, like, I perceive society as a system where we call it business, but I like to call it organizational structure is necessary for movement forward. Like, I don't know if you, I don't know what position you have at work, but what I've noticed at being a business owner is that humans, if they don't have leadership and guidance and organizational structure to keep their lives moving forward and to keep them focused, like they turn into flesh blobs and like do nothing with their life. That's at least some humans.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like they do that.
I have the same problem as like all the twos, like kind of like what they describe in a class. They're like, you're a two, you need to delegate. Well, stop doing everything. And then
Yeah.
and I remember my first business, it flopped because I wasn't delegating. I was trying to do everything. And then I was like not obviously I'm older. I'm like, oh my God, you're an idiot. Why did you do that? Why didn't you just, because I remember one time I tried to delegate and it worked, it went really well. And I'm like, why did I do that again? I'm so stupid. And then like I remember like when I was building up my YouTube channel or my blog, I started hiring people on Fiverr. Things were going well. Then when I stopped doing that, things started going to shit because I tried to do everything again. So,
Are you serious? Dang, man. Yeah,
yeah,
my issue is I tried to delegate, but everyone sucked. And I kept having that issue, and I still sometimes have that issue. So I think being a blast last EP DI kind of makes me I'm not as good at telling when someone's going to be a super valuable delegate.
That's on you though, man. Because when I delegate, I have blast savior.
Yeah.
I tell them
It is 100%.
I tell them exactly what I want, how exactly it looks like. And if it doesn't look like what I want, I tell them again in a nice way, of course. And then
when do you fire them? Like, how many chances do you give them before you let them go? Have you fired someone before?
Because I just hire on Fiverr. So if they suck, I just don't hire them again, right? And then
once you have employees, it gets rough. I don't know if you'll ever have employees, but it gets harder with employees.
I will. I've thought about it. I will at some point. I've been talking to a friend who's like telling me, Kendrick, you need to hire someone for your shit. Like I'm like, yes, I know. Damn it.
You would be better at hiring and delegating than I would, for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's like a test you can take. I took this. It's called Builder Profile 10 by Gallup. I don't know if you took your Strength Finder test by Gallup. Have you heard of it? Yeah. Same company. They made something called Builder Profile 10, and it tells you like what your ideal role is in a company, whether you're a rainmaker, conductor, or expert.
That sounds cool. I'm gonna check it
out. And then based on that, then that's like you kind of want to form a super team based on that. So if you're like a conductor, for example, then you want to have a rainmaker and an expert. So rainmaker is sales and marketing, conductor is like operations, and expert is like R&D, right?
Nice.
So yeah. So you want to have like each part covered. Otherwise, your system's not gonna work the way it should be working. So I'm a rainmaker, so I'm the sales and marketing guy. I need someone to do the operations because I don't have attention to detail. There's also another book. I have a friend who makes $4 million a year. He started a business teaching people how to dance on YouTube, and now he has a hair care company. Yeah, that's his first.
Nice job, dude. Jeez.
Yeah, and he's super nice. He's like teaching me. I think he's a 2 because he saved your friend. Even though he's play last, he helps. He still goes with friends and stuff. But like, so he did a business all by himself. How to Dance for Men. You can look it up on YouTube. It's called How to Dance for Men, and he literally teaches dudes how to dance. Like in clubs.
Funny that simple, you can just make cash money off that.
Yeah. So crazy. With that business, he was making 6 figures, like just $100K a year. And then he pivoted and joined a team to do like a men's grooming company. I forget the name of the company. He gave me some samples, but anyway, so they do like shampoo, like facial cream, all that stuff, mostly hair care products and stuff. And dude, he makes $4 million a year by himself. Like not even his team, just him.
He's cashing like him.
Yes. Him. Oh. Just him. Oh my God. That's not even his partners, because he has 2 partners, right?
Bro, that is a successful company, man.
He's so good. This guy's so good. He's obsessed with working, but he'll hang out with friends if you call him up, if you ask him to hang out, right? He's just play last, so he doesn't ask you to hang out, but if you ask him to hang out, he'll come out, right? Yeah. And yeah, and then he keeps bugging me, like he's looking at my like my YouTube channel, for example, like this one right now. Because like last year I was like, I don't know if I should be saying this publicly. Like I started making like $1,000 per month, just like coaching and typing people, you
Heck
know.
yeah.
And then
Nice
like,
job.
but then I stopped, and then he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Why don't
Like,
you stop, bro?
because I have a day job, you know. Like,
F your day job, man. You're about to make
yeah.
$1 billion
And
coaching
then
people.
he's like, first of all, you have no marketing, you have no landing page, you have like I get my business from people emailing me, right? Like tell me, hey man, can you type me? Or hey man, can you coach me? You know, and then I have no landing page, I have jack shit. It's just like people emailing me, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure, here's a PayPal link, right? You know, you
Bro,
can
you could probably make 5K instantly per month if you just started marketing.
yeah, that's what my friend told me. He's like, dude, like what the fuck are you doing? Like he even showed me this is how you market, and he gave me like a list of stuff like what to do and stuff. So I'm working it
Yeah.
right now. He got me to read this book. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. He told me to read this book. It's called Rocket Fuel.
It's a great
Uh,
book.
oh, you read it already?
Oh yeah, dude, I've read all the books. Yeah, you should read the other book by same guy, I think. Is that what's his name? What's the guy's name again?
Gino Wickman. But
Yeah, you got to read Gino Wickman's. So that book is really great. It talks about the visionary role and then the operator role, if I'm not
are
mistaken.
you visionary or operator?
I would say I'm probably more visionary oriented. Um, I think having ST Savior helps me doing operations, but my problem is that like I have the tendency. This is probably also Blast Last. I have the tendency to think that if I coach someone up and teach them something, like they're going to continue being good. But like I think an operator has a more they're more oriented towards like I am going to be interacting with this human for the rest of my life. Probably someone that's more decidery, like double observery, like I'm building
Right.
relationships with people and I am now going to be coaching you for the rest of your life to make sure you don't suck. They have more of a like an understanding of like how much input someone's going to need to be able to get the right outputs every
Right.
single day, every single week. Where for me, I'm like, I want 5 humans that I can put in each of the roles in my business, and I will be your best friends once a week. But like, I'm not, I'm not trying to constantly check in on my painters every single day to make sure they didn't ruin something. You know, that's not how I work.
Oh, dude, my friend said the most funniest thing. So first of all, he got me to read this book because I'm reading it right now because he's like, okay, you're a visionary, but you need like the operator to help you. Number one. And then the
Yeah.
second thing he told me was like, this one hit the hardest because I'm a two. And then in the video, David Chan was like, you know what the two's problem is? They're friends. and then
Oh,
and then my friend's like, so I had a birthday party, right? So I invited him over. And then I have a lot of friends that are like fours and threes and stuff.
yeah.
And he looked around, right? Then he looked at me because we were talking about business, like while we were in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And then like now we were hanging out at my place. And then he's like, he looked at my friend and he was like, you know why you're not making the money and the success that you should already have. And he looked around the room. He said, you're not willing to do what it takes to succeed. And then he means like I need to sacrifice my friends, you know.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, fuck, he's true. Like
This
I'm
probably
not
sucks.
I'm not a ruthless one though. It's a
Yeah.
human. So
Especially if all your friends are threes and fours, man. Like, oh
no, dude,
gosh.
but dude, I have a lot of friends that makes millions of dollars. I have another buddy besides him.
You
Um,
do?
yeah, I think he got lucky though because his wife is a one.
Do you
Uh,
hang out with him very often?
I do, but he wants to play. He wants to do the FE. He's an ISTP. He wants to do the FE.
Oh, so he's like working, but when he hangs out with you, he's trying to have fun.
No, yeah, we're childhood friends. He wants to use the FE, right? Because like as an ISTP, FE is like the goal, right? At the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to connect with your friends. So
Right.
he doesn't want to like he talks about work, but he doesn't want to do work. He wants to, you know, play and stuff. And I don't know what I think he's a three, honestly. Because he
Yeah.
has a high
Super
ego also.
successful IP3. Yeah.
Yeah, high ego. He likes to dress nice, but he has demon friends like a tree. You know, because
Yeah.
like he's been abandoned a few times, like because
Yeah.
he's done like IPBS stuff. But
Yeah.
like but his wife is definitely one. His wife's like looking at Instagrams like crush them all. She's like look at those bitches. Like and then he'll tell my friend. He'll show the pictures of like other girls on Instagrams, like, let this be the motivation for you to succeed. All these bitches that's like not doing anything to succeed, I think she's like I think they're both IPs. like the wife's also an IP. I think my friend's an ISTP. I think his wife's either an INTP or something.
Dude.
And then
Yeah, decider ones are crazy.
She's good, man. Oh my god, the wife is good. My there's no way my friend would be a millionaire right now if he never met that girl.
Really?
They met.
She's just slamming him to get.
She's good, man. She's like a true one. Like she's the best. Like, have you heard of the company Lululemon?
Yeah.
She was the head designer for Lululemon before she started her own business, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then
she got him all the money.
Yeah. No, my friend's good at sales because he's a specialist. Yeah. He's good at sales. That's his thing. So together they were good because like she didn't like sales. She's more like an operator, and then he's more like the sales guy. So she's like the R&D person. So he got lucky. Whatever. Luck is a factor in life.
Yeah. No, it exists. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question about your type twin, and then see if you can relate to this. Okay. So Alex Hormozy is the same type as you, right?
Yes.
Like exactly the same type in every way, except he's a 2. I think.
Yeah, that's right.
He seems like a 1 though. He gives me 1 vibe.
He does.
So a long time ago, he said something that you also said, and then he says his friends are temporary. When he makes friends, they're just friends for that moment. He has a great time, and then peace out later on because they've moved on to the different stage of life, and whatever they shared in the past, he treasures, but they're not friends anymore because to go to the next stage, you need the different kind of friends to move to the next level. Right. So my first question is, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but then the second part of the question, so when he said that, I thought he was a dumbass. Actually, I thought he was an idiot because of Mr. Beast. Because Mr. Beast has lots of friends, like from his childhood, and he's considered to be like the best number 1. He's making millions of dollars, and he kept his friends, right? And then in a more recent video by Alex Hormozy, he's obsessed with work, right?
Yep.
So in a recent video, he talked about like how you should spend your money because he's very frugal, right? You only spend it at the right thing that will make you even more money. But he kind of went back on his word a little bit of what he said a long time ago, which brought some respect from me. He said, you know what? You should always spend your money on once in a lifetime experience because in the end, you're going to be dead. It doesn't really matter. All the stuff that you work for doesn't mean jack shit because we're going to be dead. And he said that his biggest regret is not taking time to go backpacking in Europe and staying in hostels and stuff. And then he said that is his biggest regret. It's too late now. He has the golden shackles now because when you're running all this business, you can't leave now, right? So golden shackles, right? So so those are my multifaceted question to you. Do you relate to that, to those 2 things that I said? Is your friends the current friends and you need a different set of friends to level up? And number 2 is, do you think you're missing out in life you're still an EP, right? Do you have FOMO that because you're so focused at work that you're missing out on some once in a lifetime kind of things that you probably won't be able to do when you're older,
Maybe. I don't really get that stuff too often because I think whether it's true or not, I convince myself that there is one ideal path. And even though there's like some like side paths I could take that would add some fun to my life, I think what I'm going for is the ultimate bliss, which comes from achieving my purpose. So even though it's like, oh yeah, all my friends in high school went and did a bunch of drugs, they have a lot of fun, but now I skipped that. A lot of my friends did this, a lot of my friends did that, a lot of my friends went on backpacking, a lot of my friends did that. For one, I think that I could still do a lot of those things if I wanted to. The fact that Alex Hormozy thinks he can't go backpacking is a little bit silly to me. I mean, the dude makes $10 million a year. Like, you can go backpacking.
Maybe because he's famous.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but like, he's not gonna lose anything if he goes backpacking for 2 weeks or a month.
Right.
He literally makes $10 million a year. So I think that's kind of funny. I think I don't know what that is, but it sounds like he's not willing to do something fun just because he liked working a lot. He's addicted to it.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's tons of all the freaking bajillionaires that make tons of money. Like, they're the ones that have yachts and literally do yacht stuff for like and waste tons of time because they have arrived. So they have an asset that spits out cash at them constantly. So
Right,
he
right.
could easily do that. But regarding the friends thing, um, I think I have like a subcategorical philosophy where like in one respect, like yeah, technically I understand where he's coming from with like, hey, you're gonna have phases of friends. Like these friends will meet this state, these friends will meet this state. Um, in a certain sense, I kind of agree with that, but in another way, I disagree. Um, I think what he's experienced is like he's a two that realized he wanted to succeed hardcore, so he like tapped into his ego and was like, "Hey, if you don't meet my level, I'm gonna ditch you," type thing. But I'll admit, like, also similar to lead to you, when I watch him, like, I have a hard time not perceiving him as a one by the way that he speaks. You know, because it is very much like I need to be the best, I need to win, I'm gonna be, uh, I'm gonna make tons of money. I'm gonna ditch all the people that don't get on my level. He talks about how like I literally was watching a video of him speaking like last week where like some guy was like, "How did you reach your goals?" And he was like, "You have to be willing to sacrifice your family, your friends, everything except money," or something like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
"This dude's a two, like whatever." If I
Yeah, I
and I
don't know
think
how is he a two. Like
yeah,
he's always saying this
but
shit.
yeah, it's funny, but I mean, you gotta trust Dave and Shane sometimes, I guess. But I
Yeah,
think it has something to do with um I don't think you have to be this way, but if you look at most people that end up succeeding like he has, like $10 million a year plus,
yeah,
a lot of their mindsets and their philosophies, they will speak the same. And I'm sure they're not all ones, right? So like in one sense, I think technically, like, hey, if you're gonna become a decamillionaire or a billionaire, probably your attitude is going to become like, yo, you got to leave some people behind, or hey, you're going to have to sacrifice some of the fun in order to achieve your goals because you're not
right.
about to be a 10 million decamillionaire or billionaire by going out and drinking alcohol every night or something like that. So that's kind of my thought.
Well, the cool thing is there's a lot of people that's number one that's not a one. There's like number ones that are twos, threes, and fours, right? Like Joe Rogan is a good example of like a
Yeah, exactly.
successful guy. He's like the number one podcaster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super
so
successful. Or like Ed Milet. I don't know if you ever watched Ed Milet,
yeah,
but
he's a four
dude,
also.
yeah, exactly.
I
Dude's
thought
a
he was
boss.
I thought he was a one actually.
By the
But
way he talks, right?
yeah,
But it's like, oh, you were typed a four. So that to me signifies like, okay, once you like, it doesn't matter what social type you are, if you
right.
achieve a certain level of success, you probably have developed a certain level of confidence and ego and realization that like, okay, I'm gonna have to sacrifice some fun friends and some
Right.
specialization to take responsibility for everything and also be the best. Because in order to really be the best, you do have to take on some ego and be responsible. If you like, I think it's a little bit like, gosh, this is going to sound like I'm talking down to threes and fours, but I think if you're being too four-ish and too three-ish, you're probably going to have a hard time being at the top of your respective field, technically speaking. Because if you really want to be perceived at the top of your respective field, you're probably going to need to take responsibility for a lot of things. You're going to have your head on a swivel, and you're probably going to have a desire to be better than everyone. If you don't have those two things, then it's going to be hard. But
You know,
yeah,
as a two, I think the three scare me more because I think earlier when you were talking about you were making fun of fours earlier the most as a one,
yeah,
but for me as like a two, I think the threes are scarier because like as an observer, I think of like like threes are specialists, right? So if you need to see like the best doctor in the country or like the best whatever, you're gonna see probably a three, right?
uh-huh.
Um, and then if they fuck up like the procedure,
Right.
they're not gonna take responsibility for jack shit because their responsibility lasts, right?
That's true.
So
Yeah.
so as a two, that triggers me because like responsibility is like super important to me as a two. So I was like, those guys are scary. The fourth, what? I don't see the fourth being scary. They're. But anyway, so I do want to ask you a question. Last question for the day, okay?
Okay.
Unless there's something else you want to talk about. But last question is from a utility standpoint, since you're all about utility, how do you personally see yourself utilizing the twos, the threes, and the fours? And what's your relationship like with other ones when you do come across them?
I don't feel like I have a lot of ones in my life, to be honest. In general, like in terms of utility, um, it's probably stereotypical, like the way that I see it. I don't know if I'm going to be typing like I'll probably be thinking about people's social types all the time, just because that's how like I feel like people's brains work in the system. Once you learn about something, it's like you're now trying to think about exactly what they
Right.
are all the time. What I do pay attention to is like the respective attitude of a given person, and I think that's kind of what social type is like your attitude about like people and life and your purpose and your aspirations and stuff like that. In business, there are a few things that are really important. Like if you like, technically friends matter, but because obviously if you don't have friends in your business, your culture is probably going to suck really bad, I would imagine. But for me, um, if someone's not ambitious, which probably comes down to like either ego or responsibility or a combination of that. If they're not ambitious and willing to take on more responsibility, you're not going to be in a management type role, because if you have an attitude of like, hey, I just want to do this thing, like I don't try to make me do anything else, that means to me like, oh, you're always going to be here, you're going to be in a lower level position in my life. um or like, and I'm thinking in terms of business. When it comes to my friendships, like I don't really care what type you are. Like we're going to be friends, like it doesn't matter what you are, I'm just going to like have fun talking to you for whatever you are, you know. In business it matters, like utility matters a lot more to me. um but I mean, with the way that I see ones is like, okay, you have a lot of ambition, I need to make sure that you have the skills to back it up. The way that I see twos is, okay, you have a lot of willingness to do everything I need you to do, but do you actually suck at it or not? I've had some twos in my life that like they're willing to like yes to everything and they would confidently like take it on, but like then they would do like, I had a two that like thought he could take on the financials in my business, and it was like, okay, every week I'm looking at the financials, why does QuickBooks not match up with my bank account? Every single week. Like if those don't match up, we got a problem.
Right.
Can I rely on any of these? Like, oh no, we're close. Like it's just like, then I look at the cash flow sheet and it's like, yeah, it's approximate. Like, no, I don't want approximates for my freaking cash. Like that doesn't work for me.
No,
So
of course not. You need a three for that then.
yeah, exactly. You need like
Yeah.
a three. So like a freak three that's like, all I care about is numbers. I love math. I want to freaking make sure these numbers are perfect and
Right.
I'll kill
Exactly.
someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I need that. So like technically I wouldn't necessarily put a two in that role
No.
unless they were like the CFO that is like technically has a bunch of delegates that are
Yes.
threes,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
But in the stage of business that I'm in, like I don't need a CFO right now. The business isn't big enough. So
Right.
if I was going to put another person in like a finance position, I would make sure they were three or seemed like a three, either a three or another freaking type that has specialization
Like a four.
honed in for, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't want my finance person to be very nice. So F4s for finance. I want them to just be
So you
like
need
a
a three then.
ruthless. Yeah, I want them to be a ruthless douche. Like I want them to be like,
Yeah.
we need these numbers, Manly. We need this. Like fire everyone that. Like if I got a four in that position, then they're gonna be like, no, we can make it work. You know, and I don't want that. I
Yeah.
used to do that too much, and I don't want that anymore.
You need a three who also has demon friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
the money is your friend. The
Yeah.
money is your friend, Mister
Yeah.
Three.
Yeah. Mr.
Um,
Three.
yeah, but like, man, if I could have a stack of twos, like running my business from like an operational perspective, that's what I would want. You know,
Yeah.
a stack of twos. Um, I have an inclination that like, well, I was about to make a judgment, and I don't know if that's true, but I think I think a lot of the time, like observer twos are a little bit more like one-ish. I have like I don't know why I think that, but I think that might be the case. I think that technically like two two deciders probably are more operationally ish. Like I think I've determined that in general I kind of perceive deciders as being more management type material. And uh, I don't know how true that is, but that's kind of what I've been noticing. Like I've had I've had I've just noticed that there's so much chaos in management and like so much stupidity in humans that like you kind of want someone that is like a double observer that's willing to deal with like things like, oh, it's never going to feel like it's perfect ever. Where like I feel like EPs and IJs eventually they want something to feel like it's like, okay, the system is working, it's working, I have it right, but that's just not real. Like it doesn't exist. It's always going to feel like the system is chaos. And
Right.
I feel like that's good for double observers. So if I could
Okay.
find a bunch of two double observers that'll just be in management positions in my company, I think that would be very.
Get a Jocko willing to work for you. That'd be sweet, right?
Yeah, yeah. Technically,
He's a
he's
two,
a
right? So
yeah, he's a two, but he's a
EP, right?
single observer. but still, like that guy's obviously a boss,
Yeah.
like but yeah, someone like him, I would love that. Or like freaking honestly, Layla Hormozy, like Alex, I feel like that dude would be a loser if he didn't have Layla Hormozy in his life. Like that
Really?
girl. Oh yeah, no, that guy
What
does.
makes you say that?
He's got skills and he's like great at marketing and sales. But if you listen to his life and what it was like before Layla Hormozy entered, utter chaos, bro. Like
So
he had like 6 different businesses, and he doesn't try to talk about it too much, but he was like he had like a bunch of businesses and was poor. He was like a more standard EP that was like, I'm
yeah.
doing $5 million in revenue, but making $0 or something like that.
So his
And
INTJ wife is what got him out of the hole then.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I think he starts mentioning that more now. Like he'll be like, yeah, Layla is the one that kind of helped me out, but she's a 2, feminine masculine, NITE,
Yeah.
sleep, or NIFI, sleep blast play consume. Um and she clearly takes on the operational aspect of the role. They even mentioned in one video, like someone came in and was like, and I think it was probably a consultant that Gino Wickman started a business that's called ELS. I think it's Entrepreneurial Operating System, or EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. Super good. But I think they had a consultant come in and like say like, hey, this is what you should focus on, Alex, and this is what you should focus on, Layla. And essentially he was like, Alex, you're marketing basically only. Layla, you're everything else. And that's kind of like how their business went on from there, because like Alex was too much wanting to like always be growing the thing, like focused on like
Doing
growth and
everything.
yeah. And
Damn.
then yeah, so to where it like wouldn't work. And Layla was like more like she could handle she understood humans better and how to make sure that they performed the way that they were supposed to. Probably because of Blast High, I would imagine. You
Right.
know? Blast probably helped, but
So that means for you, you would need like a partner with high blast to to do the blasting for you then. Because
yeah,
you're doing the NT, right? So
I dream of having like a two like a if I could find either probably like an IJ or an EJ. I kind of want an EJ that's like blast, play, consume, sleep. Like someone similar to friggin' what's his I just said his name earlier. What's the 4 that I mentioned earlier, the EJ?
an EJ, that's a 4. Joe,
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
No, the other one I mentioned after that. He's double masculine. Blast
Oh,
play.
my led. You want an ESTJ?
Yeah. Yeah. I would like a ESTJ like that. Like come in info dom, like
You don't want an energy dom?
I need some info doming in my life.
Yeah.
I'm willing to exert energy, but like constantly creating like little detailed systems to make sure that people do what they're supposed to, that wears me out.
Yeah.
I'll do it once and then I realize like, oh, it helps, but like info doms are like their brain is constantly communicating the info all the time.
Right. Right.
Um I have a partner that I have a partner company who has an employee, and he's like similar to that type. And he's been like, I've kind of been like getting coaching from him in a sense, but we like meet up and talk about things. And he's just like this, man. Like he just like,
You need to snipe that guy from that company.
I honestly, man, I've thought about it a few times, but I don't think he would.
Yeah.
He's got a nice gig right now, but
Oh,
yeah, no. But yeah, I know. I wish I could, but yeah, no. He is like all. I think he's probably consumed last, but all he does is like he's like a double masculine. I think he's an ESTJ, consume last, like blast play first, and he's just like do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Like everyone do this, you do this. Hey, is this person stealing? This person's stealing. Fire them now.
yeah.
Do
Yeah.
this. You do that. You do that. Why aren't you doing this? And
Right.
it's like just like never ending, like doesn't stop. And I'm just like, I need one of you crazy mofos to run my business.
Dude, it's so funny. I like as a kid, like when my first few jobs and stuff, I hated those people. But like now that I run a business, like I'm like doing business and stuff, man,
Yeah.
those people, they do my dirty work for me.
You
They're like the best, man. Like
you need the psychopath, like
yeah,
super like black double masculine, like ruthless, doesn't care about anything,
yeah,
like I'm not like the whole like I'm not here to be your friends, I'm here to make money. Like I need one of those to come
yeah,
into my business
yeah.
and just be a douche.
Then
Not really.
you'll be the good cop, right?
Yeah, that would be so nice, man. I would love to
Yeah.
be the good guy. I need a real one to come in and be a big old douche in my company, you know.
Yeah.
But not necessarily a one, probably a two, but
Yeah.
like an angry one, you know, an angry. I need an angry two to come in.
That's
That's double
funny.
masculine.
All right, dude.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, do you have any final messages that you want to say, or you're good? We can wrap it up here.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I would say as a one, I want to have real friends. It's just that I don't feel like I can rely on anyone. That's kind of how it feels.
You can't rely on them.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah. No, it's not that bad. I just feel like I can't. It feels like no one cares as much as me, and I want to feel like people care as much, and I want to feel like that I can rely on them to.
Well, I mean, as a two, I do agree with that statement, also, but I also like friends, so I just say it's fine. Like I understand.
Yeah.
So,
Do
anyways,
you
man.
stay friends with someone if they flake a bunch of times?
I used to, but now I put parameters. So like with my friend at 3, who's a millionaire now because of his wife.
Yeah.
The
Hope he
ISTP
doesn't
guy.
watch this.
No. If he watches it, it's fine. I say what I'm saying to you right. I say to his face, so it doesn't matter. I'm a double decider. I'm a
That's
double
awesome.
decider. I say this. I call him an idiot all the time. Like like
That's good.
he's used to it. Because at
knows.
least he has friends still, right? Because he's
That's true.
yeah, he has no friends if otherwise, because he's an IP, right? No offense to IPs, but like
Yeah.
I can take advantage. Like, I mean, this sounds horrible, but yeah, I can take advantage of the situation. Like, if I know your type, if I know your IP, oh, you need friends.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can
You
gut, I
freaking
can gut,
good
I
way
can
to.
I can gut punch you if I wanted. Like
I know you're not gonna leave me because like
yeah,
that's who you beat.
yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I used my friends against him when he was doing the flaky stuff. I took all my double decider friends. I'm like, we're gonna gang up on this guy. Tribe hate. That's our sphere, right? So we gave him an ultimatum. So we made him do a letter of apology. He didn't do it.
Oh my, oh my
No,
gosh.
no, he didn't do it. He did a rap video, which we took.
Oh,
He made
that's
it.
actually hilarious.
I know, it's funny. We took it. Like, he either had to make an apology video or a letter, because we wanted to embarrass him, right, for being a douche. So either a rap video. He either had to make an apology video or write us a letter of apology. He did a rap video instead, which is fine, right? Like,
I
and then,
like your friends' energy. What are most of your friends NT STs or are they what?
oh, dude,
Or
I
is
have
it
friends for I like everybody. I have NF friends, NT friends, ST friends, SF friends. I have all the gambit. I collect.
but
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
but when you go out on the town, who are you hanging out with? Do you have like a top three?
I don't go out of town anymore, but I guess when I used to, it's that guy's one of them. He's lead ST, he's an ISTP, right? But double activated play, so high SF.
Mm.
I have another buddy that I like a lot. He's also SF. He's SIFI, ISTJ. So I have a lot of NT friends. So yeah, I have a mix, man. I'm friends with everyone. I like everyone. I think the NF is the one that, like, I have the least amount of friends with.
Yeah, I think I've decided I'm gonna avoid them.
No, I like
I
NF.
hurt their feelings too much. Like,
I like those. I like NFs. Don't get me
don't
wrong.
lie,
Like,
you
my,
hate
my, my
NF.
girlfriend's an NF. She's NIFI.
Oh, so you
But
do really like NF.
yeah, but
All right.
you need to have a break. Like, my girlfriend has NF and ST in the middle. Like, in like, she's an IDJ
Oh,
jumper, right?
okay.
So she has ST play third.
Yeah.
She's a mope, right? So it's not crazy. It's
Yeah.
like, I get triggered by NFs with ST last.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're just fucking crazy for
Mm.
nothing. They can't prove what they're saying. It's just pure garbage, right? But if you're NF first, but you have ST in the, like, first, the second or third, you're okay.
Yeah.
Or third, sorry, you're okay.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's funny. All right, man.
All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming out. We'll wrap it up here, and see you around the group.
Adios, senor. I will talk to you soon.